Hello, my name is Chiffon Green. It is week 7 of microbiology. We are on the experiment antibiotic sensitivity Kirby-Bauer diffusion test, which I am about to start. So I have my agar plate here with my nutrient agar inside and sitting out, and I have my alcohol with my items in it that I'm going to need through this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by using a permanent marker to draw 3 lines on the bottom of the agar plate. So basically just evening out. So I'm just going to kind of just do a circle and draw my lines from there. So I need one that says PNC, GNT, and NVB. Make sure that dries out. I'm going to let that dry and come right back. Okay, so my next step is to light a candle, which I've done. Take my pipette and shake until dry. Remove my S. epidermidis broth. Of course, flame it to sterilize it. It says carefully insert the pipette into the culture vial and draw out 0.5 of the broth. Quickly pipette 8 drops into the center of the agar plate. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Place the pipette in a bucket of bleach. And I'm going to go ahead and re-sterilize my S. epidermidis and close it up. It says remove the L-shaped spreader from its packaging. Spread the broth evenly across the plate so it's coated with an even layer. So I basically just put my L shape in the center and kind of just move the broth around that way. Okay. Replace the lid on the plate. Put the L shape in a bucket of bleach. And I already replaced my lid on my S. epidermidis. My candle doesn't want to blow out. Extinguish the candle. And then it says give the broth about 1 to 2 hours to absorb the agar. So I'm going to go ahead and let that do its thing for the 1 to 2 hours. And then I will be back with the next step. I am back. I have let my broth absorb into my agar, so now I'm going to put my discs in. I'm going to start with the penicillin. If I could get it open. Shake my tweezers out of the alcohol until they are dry. And it says to remove the plate. And to lift up. And to put into the broth. Onto the surface. Okay, and to close it up and put my tweezers back in for 30 seconds. And then do the remaining with the other 2 discs. So that's what I'm going to do, and I will be right back. So I have all 3 of my discs. in my agar plate. It says to let it sit for 10 minutes as the discs attach securely to the agar surface, and then to place them in incubation for 12 hours. So as I clean up, I'm going to go ahead and let it sit so that it gets into the agar, and then I will be back in 12 hours. Hello, I am back from the 12-hour incubation. It was a little bit longer than 12 hours. As you can see, I did have growth, so that is a positive. Now my directions are telling me to take my photo, which I already have with my phone, and then without moving the plate, measure the zone of inhibition around each disc in millimeters. So I have my ruler here, and I'm going to go ahead with the NovoBioSyn first to measure the diameter in millimeters. So I'm getting for the NovoBioSyn about 30 millimeters as my diameter of the zone. I'm gonna write that down to enter into my lab assistant, and then I'm going to do the other two zones, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have measured all my zones. Again, the NovoBioSyn was 30 millimeters, my penicillin was 15 millimeters, and then my gentamicin was 27 millimeters. I had the hypothesis that my NovoBioSyn would be the one to stop the growth and not have too much growth around it. And with the calculation of the zones, I believe I was correct. Excited that I did get results of growth so that I was able to be able to measure. So now my directions are just telling me to place my diffusion plate into a plate of bleach, which I have over by the sink, to soak all my reusable equipment and dispose of all my other equipment. And then I'm going into exercise 2, which is some research on conducting research on the fungus Penicillium, and answering some questions on that. So I'm going to go ahead and conduct my research on Penicillium, fill out my lab assistant, and then there is another exercise within exercise 2 with my microscope that I will come back and be doing some microscopic work on the video with you. So my next instructions are to use my microscope to view the Penicillium with the conidia, and to view it in high power, to focus on the Violide and the conidia at a high power. So I do have it set up here at a high power. I started at my low power, went to my medium to my high to actually get into focus on it. And the next step is to take the picture, which I have right here. You can't really see the color, but I do have my picture available to put in my lab assistant. And I have to label the conidium, a string of conidia, and a Violide, and then to return my microscope and my slide and answer my questions. So that is it for week 7's experiment. It is our last experiment of microbiology. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you.